me now is former Secret Service supervisory special agent Chuck Marino. Chuck, thank you so much for your time on this.
Sure.
We continue to hear that more questions than answers. First of all, talk about the significance of this bipartisan task force visiting the site there in Pennsylvania. What all were they looking for?
Well, I think it was very important for the commission to go out there and see the lay of the land up close and personal, and also to speak with local officials, including state and local law enforcement agencies that were participating in the overall security plan that day. I can imagine they heard a lot about the overall planning process and the lack of coordination and communication, in their opinion, as we've heard them express prior. But what I can tell you is the commission is going to be absorbing a lot of other information. There's 4 other reviews and investigations going on, 2 internal at the DHS. You've got the FBI criminal investigation of the shooter and his background, which is still ongoing. You've got the Inspector General of DHS, and the commission is going to review all of this information, but also conduct their own separate investigation, including interviews of everyone that was working that day from the Secret Service and other agencies.
All right, so Chuck, we heard sound there from some of the lawmakers, you know, after being on the ground there. I mean, talking about line of sight, about the proximity of buildings prior to this happening, knowing obviously hindsight is always 20/20. If we take that out of that, in your opinion, was this the right place to hold an outdoor rally?
Well, it's the job of the Secret Service to identify risks such as this building and mitigate those risks. It's not to dictate to the campaigns on a normal basis where they should or should not hold these types of events. It's not the job of the Secret Service unless there is an overwhelming wealth of adverse intelligence against a protectee. They typically would not make those recommendations. So they're responsible for not only creating the overall security plan, but also making sure that it's effectively implemented to mitigate all of these varying threats, including high ground buildings that are in close proximity with a direct line of sight. And this is where the failure started. And then it exposed all the other cracks in terms of the unpreparedness in the area of coordination and communication.
You know, and Chuck, we're at this point nearly, a month and a half out from this happening. There's a lot of critics, everyday Americans, lawmakers who think the Secret Service is dragging its feet on this investigation. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is certainly requiring a lack of transparency based on the fact that you had a former president and the Republican nominee for president that was almost assassinated on live TV. The American people have a funny way of deciding what information they need and when they want it. And you can't tell all of them that they're wrong. And so as that information flow shrinks from law enforcement, from both the FBI and the Secret Service, you have 2 things that are happening. People will fill in the blanks with what they think happened. Some people call it conspiracy theories. I say it's just asking normal questions. And the other thing that happens is those agencies start to lose even more credibility with the public. Obviously, you don't want those 2 things to happen. I think it was a strategic mistake, especially with the Secret Service in the beginning, to not come out and talk about this and guarantee the American public that the candidates were going to be kept safe and secure and that this would never happen again. But they failed to do that. So they got off to a very rough start. And now with these ongoing investigations, they're slowing the flow of info. And all of this runs counter to the amount of transparency that I think is justifiable here from the American people. They should be informed about this, and they should know that people should be able to run for office and be kept safe.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly does shake some of the confidence. Last question for you, Chuck. We know at this point that there are some members of the Secret Service who are now on leave. Do you think we're going to see more suspensions or possible terminations?
So it's possible. Administrative leave is not a final judgment on these agents in terms of right and wrong.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.